And we have the community. Let's see where we can give a helping hand. Let's see where we can give a helping hand. Let's make it work. Let's make it happen.
Less talking, more action. Let's walk it. Let's not just be about talking. So I'm happy to be here. We're about action. We're about paving the way forward and getting the right steps into making a difference. And my role here today is to be part of the discussions and to come up with formidable solutions.
Sanmona once again. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all. Thank you all for coming on such short notice. My name is Utabo Mnizi, DJ Touch of Soul. I know a lot of you guys are curious why we brought you here and sending these cameras and some questions. And then no checking didn't make it any easier for us. We apologize for any inconvenience caused. But once again, we are super grateful that each and every one of you guys made it here on time. So just very briefly, this room here is a powerhouse full of super creators. I know a lot of you guys at the present level. I've seen your journeys, I've watched, I've been inspired by a lot of each and every one of you guys here. And more than anything, now that we're in one space, it would be great if something would come out of this community of people, because from what I know you guys to do, I know you guys are driven, I know you guys are hungry, but more than anything, I know you guys have also opened opportunities for other people and you guys are passionate about the creative space as a whole. So in this one room, we've got people from the media department, we've got people from the clothing, we've got people from entertainment, we've got various people, politics, we've got people from, different type of fields. So it would be beneficial if each and every one of us here would know one another at the end of this and then see how we can come together and collaborate and find something and solutions. So this platform, more than anything, is for us all to voice out who we are, what we do, what are the limitations to what we do, but most importantly, why we are here is to find a solution and act on solutions for what could be the limitations to what our current challenges are in our spheres of whoever we are. Alright, cool. We've got all the honor of being with who I know will be our future president right here. He's blended in, you wouldn't tell, very much so. It's an honor to be led by Abantu who understand, who feel us, and just by you guys get to hear him talk. Muzobona is part of us, he's the struggle is with us, and as long as let's collaborate. So how I see it working for everyone to get a chance, I'd like to give each and every one of us 20 seconds to say, who are we? What do we do? What field are we in? And then from there, we will just throw in questions, discuss, and keep it to 1 hour. So time is of the essence more than anything. Let's not drag it. We just stick to the point. We all introduce ourselves. Who are we? What do we do? So and then from there, I think we'll pick interest and the questions, answer, find solutions. But if we don't get a chance, we are about collaboration and moving things forward and action based, not just talking. We've done too much talking. Now we want to action and find if problem is money, if problem is space, if problem is access. We are going to say problem is access and look for solutions to get access to whatever we want to do. So each and every one, very quickly, 20 seconds each before the time. Many are going to write down. Okay, cool. Many are going to write down a key points so that at the end of the day we'll collect everything and then we'll discuss it and see how we reach out to each and every one so that we can know this community. I thank you all. So color with Theo, and then we go on who you are, very short, 20 seconds, which field you're in, what you're passionate about, and how you fit in this big pie.
So first I just want to thank leadership for giving me this opportunity.
No.
So this is guys chilling with us.
No, we're chilling.
For this organization, I'm Theo. I'm an events manager. I've been an events creator for many years. Travel to be exact. And I'm just here to basically voice my frustrations and obviously find a way forward as to how we can make this work together.
Well, my name is Spencer. I'm a creative director of a company called House of Dirty. We're in the space of talent management, event coordination, and marketing. And basically, we're here, just like he said, to find a balance and how to care for the community. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Owani. I'm also part of House of 30. I'm the sales director for that. On the side as well, I'm a software engineer. So I try and mix the tech with the creative side of things. So I try and create new strategies, new softwares to try and kind of make our work a little bit easier. So yeah.
Hi everyone, I'm Kim. I own Yamudi Trees and I'm in corporate as well in the construction field. Just there, maybe trying to be businesswoman. So hope this will be a great space for my growth.
If I may just interject before you, thanks to Noble Fish, she supplied us with some treats today. So,
I'm a creative director and design for a brand called Neon 5 Garments, based in Durban. My goal is obviously continue to redefine everyday fashion. And I'm also here, like the rest of you, to get information and see how we can grow together and forward.
Hi everyone, I'm Jani. My name is Pamela Nkosi, or I go by Nkulu. I'm a floral crafter, accessories crafter, headgear crafter. I started my business in 2017 and I've expanded into art direct photo shoots, and also I've launched motivational platforms and events. I came here just to engage, but I found out there's more to offer on this platform, so yeah, can't wait.
Hi everyone, my name is Junior Spogo, and I'm one of 3 founders of the House of 30 company. We're into event management, talent management, as well as marketing. And yeah, I'm the creative director for that company. So.
Hi everyone, my name is Tommy. I'm a classical pianist and saxophone pianist. And I've been doing production from 2015 now. Yeah. And I've been working with a couple of people who are actually screaming. So that's what I'm about.
I'm Minnie Dooley, breakfast broadcaster, TV personality, businesswoman. Looking forward to the conversation.
My name is Zola, radio, TV presenter and an actress, and an entrepreneur for ladies shapewear. My passion is with young ladies, and I'm here to inspire. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Moody Zedek. I'm an architect. Work in property development. I have a tech company working towards digitalizing the construction industry. Pleasure to meet you.
Sinubon, Gama, Sipo, DJ Projects.
Hi everyone, my name is Hasina Mende. I have experience in broadcasting. Used to do a lot of radio before, but I'm hoping to get into politics in the future. So yeah, hoping that we can be able to network. So yeah.
Leon Duma, curation of spaces like this one. Also a bit of creative direction professionally on the fashion industry and corporate. And yeah, I'm here to network. And that's it.
Hello everyone, my name is Mubin Kiza and I'm part of the Walker Talker crew. I'm literally here to engage with everyone here. So yeah, looking forward to it.
Hi, good day guys, my name is Ryan. I work close to Duduzane Zuma and the Walker team. Basically what we do is bring change to whichever community and people that want to bring change. So basically I'm just here to support the guys. And it's nice to see that the media coming out and want to see change and take it serious. So this is a nice platform, guys. And I would just say, let's go.
Hi everyone, I am Ezile Kopana. I run a company called She Is Arts. We dabble in everything media.
Gents at the top, this is the guy here.
As a member of SGN, that I recommend this is the minute. The cyber security has
Hello guys, I'm Javon Low. I'm currently still studying, hoping to do great in life, and yeah, we're doing everything.
Hello everybody, I'm Alan from Woodlands East. Part of this lecture was here, looking to bring change.
Yes.
Some more. Welcome up, please be on. This is my space. It's good to have you. Good watch.
Hi everyone, my name is Duduzane Zuma and I'm part of the Walker Talker team. Thanks.
Hello everyone, this is Duduzane Zuma. I work closely with Mr. Zuma here, and I'm also part of the Walker Talker team.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Duduzane. Firstly, thank you very much for letting us into your space, hosting us today. It's a Saturday, short notice, but we appreciate it. And looking forward to the positive conversation and most importantly, solutions.
Okay, now that we've established who everyone is, there's the media team this side. I think the parts they've written very perfectly in the conversation and what we do. I would like you guys to explain a little bit about what Walk It Talk It is.
So, how's everyone again? Walk It Talk It came about because we, as Ryan had said, we're in a space of where we want to create change for South Africans, for young people mainly. But the problem is that when we look around, people like to talk about change, but they don't actually act on it. That's why the show is actually called Walk It Talk It. It's about not just talking, but also walk and talk. So we had our second episode on Thursday. We had Touch there, and part of the discussion, something that came out of the discussion was that there's many young creators in Durban from all different spheres, industries within the creative space, as you guys have seen through the introduction. And there's many young people that feel like, one, they don't have access to certain opportunities. It's always the same type of people getting the same opportunities. But then also, if that's not enough, it's I'm talented, but I don't have the money maybe to get the specific equipment or whatever is needed to get me going. So what then came out of that was, okay, no, let's, instead of just talking about what the issues are, let's do a quick turnaround between talking about it and getting you guys here today. As you can see, from Thursday to Saturday, quick turnaround time. And hopefully from this, what we can get is something that we can actually start to execute from Monday or from tomorrow or from the next minute after we're done sitting here. Something that we, all of you here, will be the people that will say, you know what, we started that. We look back 5 years from now and say, you know what, we started that. We're all successful because of that. And we're also then going to take on, we're going to help other young people. So I think it's important to get that context, because then maybe when you guys start talking, maybe we'll get to understand what the issues are in the different industries. And then maybe with the help of Mr. Zuma here, we can then come with actionable solutions. So that's basically what Walk It Talk It was on Thursday. So we only started 2 weeks ago. So we have 2 episodes, and to see this already tells me that we're onto something big. Before I forget, we have a page on YouTube, which is where the episodes air, called Walk It _ Talk It _ and then we have Instagram page, Walk It Talk It, we have Facebook, Walk It Talk It, Twitter, Walk It Talk It. So it'll be pretty easy to find. So yeah.
Okay. So more than anything, as you guys have heard, we are more solution. I think this episode or this platform is more solution driven to the challenges that you're facing. Sisonke in the different fields that we are in. So maybe, I don't know how, maybe just randomly, if anyone has something to say, maybe we can pick anyone within Angola. And more than just explaining what a challenge could be, that is stopping the growth based on your experience, because a lot of you guys carry experience, but also maybe just one or two solutions to the problem and where the starting point is. I don't know if I'm losing, if I'm in the right direction. And then someone who's noting will note it down, and then maybe we can engage on those kind of points. But if anyone else has another opinion, whatever to say, maybe we can just randomly pick people from the different fields. For example, Mimi, I know you're in radio right now, and because I'll just choose random. I know you're in radio right now. I know you did what, drama at school?
Law.
You did law?
Yeah.
Okay, that's very interesting. Okay, so yeah, I know it's just always been around the space as a drama and advocating, and then all of us. Now you went on radio. I remember you in One Kids in TV. So I've seen your growth in the space. What would you say, based on your story, what were challenges? Right now you're popping, you've got the biggest show in KZN on Radio Breakfast. And I was speaking to you outside. Those were the dreams, those are the things that you prayed for, and you got there.
Yeah.
What has been the challenges, and what do you think are the solutions for more people like me who want to be on the field and radio to succeed the way they should be?
These questions are many, firstly, right?
Minimum answers.
Yeah. But I have to be honest with the journey. The journey is not easy, and I think it's Kanjanamam as young people when they say, "Oh, just dream it and you can achieve it," but then they forget to tell you that you actually have to put in the work, right? So I went and I want to study law. It's gonna be easy. It wasn't. Okay, it wasn't. And to be honest, why wasn't it not easy? Because I got distracted with Fees Must Fall and being in the SRC, and if it wasn't for that, not being in that space, I don't think I'd be where I am today. It was spaces like going and joining organizations that opened up my mind. So I think if I'm being honest about the challenges, being a young black woman would be males that we have to work with. I know there's a lot of you here. Perfect time to raise it. Especially black men, we become the most difficult people to work with as a young black woman because firstly, when you see me, I'm firstly objectified first, I'm seen as an object, and then when I have to assert myself, I'm seen as an angry black woman, and then when I finally make it, all of a sudden, oh, you're not so bad, you're like there, you know, and I think we have to be honest about it. So, and I think another thing that I'd say was difficult in the industry is going to knock. It's always seen as if you're just trying to get there. It's like, we work that way. You have to work. You can't just, think I'm just going to open the door for you, And so I think those are some of the difficult things that I went through, but persisting through it. I think that's the right English word, right? And surrounding yourself with people like my friends or people in the industry, and hey, show me, it's so hard. Do you know someone that can open that door for me? Do you know someone that I can talk to? And I think as young people, and I love this space, we need to open up and build our own tables and say, hey, do you have a space at your table? Can I get a space there? So for me, I think it's that. I think it was creating it myself, and then when you create it yourself, somehow, some way, someone goes, hey, can I work with you? Or, hey, I've been working, can I have a seat at your table? I think we need to be honest. You can't go knocking and now you have nothing. And you have to come here and say, hey, I've been working on this, I know it's not much, but can I learn something from you? I think we become stars too quickly, and we're not willing to put in the work. And I might be doing a breakfast show now, but there are greats around the world, and I'm still knocking, and I'm still going, hey, can we please do this? Hey, can we the hustle never stops. That's what the hustle just never stops, it keeps going.
If I may just ask a question, you mentioned exposure to different platforms and initiatives. One of the ones that you mentioned was the Fees Must Fall.
Yeah.
As a student representative leader. How do you think that Fees Must Fall project went from its beginning to its end? Was it effective?
The truth is, I think a lot of young people need to know that Fees Must Fall didn't start in 2016. It started way before us. There were leaders that came before us that kept speaking about the same thing over and over again. It just so happened that 2016, all of a sudden, we all became woke. And it's like, oh my gosh, it's a serious thing. And we all caught on, right? And I say all because I think as Modesty kids that went to Modesty schools, we didn't really know what was up. You have to be exposed to the struggles first. Was it successful? The struggle continued. It was taken away from us when we got the alcohol. We were told, hey, you got it, you won. And then things changed at the last minute. So we do feel like it was a big FU to our faces. And so that's why it continues, but now I feel like student leaders now, but in management, city, and they've signed away so many things that they're not even allowed to protest. It has become illegal to protest in institutions, which is so nonsensical, because now it just means if you can't get in, you can't get in. And that's where it stops.
No, I appreciate it. The reason there was a loaded question, since we're having a conversation. Protesting, that's one of, we've seen a lot of it in this country. We've seen it in the student space, we've seen it in the workspace, we've seen it in politics as it stands, we've seen it in the employment space. And one of the things that I advocate for is we've seen enough protesting in the country. We've been approaching issues, we've been approaching leaders, government, departments, the same way our parents and some of us, our grandparents approached pre-apartheid, and zero results. And the reason I asked why, how you feel or what you think about the end of the Fees Must Fall, if it was positive or negative, is simply because the reason we have this discussion and what we're trying to do, and Zipo touched upon a very important point, is getting things done. More action and less talk. You've played your part. You've gone to a point, not to say you reached your highest heights, you still have a lot to contribute, but for a lot of people looking up to you, they're like, yo, Renee done the damn thing. And this is something that cannot be taken lightly. You've had to do that with all the challenges that you've spoken about. But more importantly, you managed to break away from being the victim. You spoke about males, and obviously you're female, and the challenges that come within the professional space, the workspace, the human race, gender, you all understand, and how you managed to break through the scene. And we celebrate people like you, we appreciate your story, we appreciate where you've brought your battle to, because the more women are out there pushing the bounds, and the more that we're exposed to stories like those and successes like those, it's something that we're able to pass that information further to other people. So how this came about was literally in an interaction which was on camera, and we said, when are we going to sit down and have this conversation? And Tash said, no, it's anytime. I know a few people. Clearly don't. and we feels the admin and said, look, you bring the treats, you bring the team, the panelists, and then we'll search for a venue. Fortunately, we found an amazing space to have this conversation. And the reason we did that is just to say, within the space of a day, just quick turnaround time. And I think what we miss as young people is we always leave things to further down the line. We don't have time to. Everything is urgent. We should treat each of our situations urgently, because the broader situation for all of us is an urgent situation. So this space came about, quick turnaround time, and this is the spirit that we need to approach our actions with. Great story. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Thank you so much, Minnie. Les, I'm really curious. I kind of have to. I have to ask. It's why I'm here. One of the biggest challenges I've struggled with in my line of work, entertainment and fashion and everything. So I'm gonna ask a few questions. Maybe that's a conversation. But the one of which is space. So space How do you go about finding space? Such a space, managing such a space, working such a space, because I think space is one thing as shy I know for a fact because I'm currently the thing is a challenge, you know. Space, access to space where you can work from, because working from home sometimes is not with the conditions and everything there, but a space where you can just put your business and direct people to go and get your merch, to get your whatever. How do you work around such?
The way I move, basically they come out relationships.
It's relationship, yeah.
Whatever, everything that you do, always have a good relationship with people. Because when I run about words, I have different way. So if you go around bad bridges, I will close this one. So that's a foundation. Build a relationship before this is responsibility.
And managing it, how do you go about managing it? Because sometimes you can find space and you lose space because one, if business yako, I gotta figure it out, I need to those kind of things. Sometimes they want 3 months deposit. You know, a lot of people would thrive if you just open space for them to work, you know. Sometimes that's the limitation, you know. Sometimes people don't know how about to go about looking for that space, but also keeping that space after they've got it. You know, that business they've got it. How do you go about it? You've had the space for 4 years?
Yeah, I had this space for 4 years. Like I had ups and downs, but like this thing is the discipline. It's okay, cool. There's a lot of things you need to sacrifice if you be like, okay, cool. I've got this responsibility of finance and channels, so 1 or 2 or 3 finding the cards and answers for us.
It's a question.
Yeah, sure.
You said you've had it for 4 years.
4 years.
What happened during COVID?
Every time.
But you kept it going.
I kept it going. So I use all my set. Just to secure this.
Well done. I think it's actually quite crazy that you guys come to composition of spaces because it's been something that we've been speaking with Les about. We've actually partnered up with Les quite a few times to use the space since we were in high school for like movie nights and stuff that we would do. That's kind of how we came about our journey of events management, you know. And so we were actually talking about how we need to develop an ecosystem of our own. Just like how Johannesburg and Cape Town, like those municipalities, you know, the leadership in those spaces, I think they understand creatives or are getting to a stage where they understand creatives and understand that we always need to be in a space that stimulates us, you know. We can be in different industries, but once we have a space, you know, that has a proper, you know, and financially stable ecosystem to keep it going. Like if the space had, you know, unlimited Wi-Fi that's not being paid for directly by Leslie, that would be amazing. If these offices could be occupied by companies such as our own, you know, Touch as a company, he does merchandise, he's a DJ, you know, he works with producers. If we had a studio here, you know, and this place was completely maybe paid for, you know, by some kind of leadership that we may be looking up to, because that's what we need right now. We don't have, you know, that kind of money. The money that we make, we would rather, you know, maybe invest it into things like growing the business, you know, getting websites up and going. But when you have things that are, you know, pulling you a little back down, like not having enough sponsorship, you know, going through things like COVID, you know, I'm actually surprised that he was able to keep this place going through all of that. He must have taken a big knock, you know, with just like ourselves, you know. So I think the issue of spaces is definitely one that's something that needs to be attended to very, very quickly, and we actually want to be a very big part of that ourselves. You know, from conversations that we've had with him, we want to also build a long-standing relationship with him in our own, you know, expert kind of way, because we always believe that in order for a company, you know, to actually bring about the best product, you need to work with people that are experts in those fields. You know, he's an expert in managing, you know, this venue. He can do that. We're experts in events management. We bring him business when we have our events here. You know, we work with people, we do merchandise as well. You know, we work with fashion designers. This is Tabizo, he's from Neophyte. You know, we partner together, we conceptualize on designs, but we trust him to come, you know, with the final product because he's an expert at it. You know, these are the types of things that we want to worry about. The other nitty-gritties, such as, you know, paying, you know, we don't want to worry about those kind of things. Creatives have to worry about making the business better. You know, so I think, yeah, you know, capital, management of spaces, you know, yeah, those are like the biggest issues that we face, you know. And I think also a growth in sponsorships, you know, like I'll make an example. I'm always going to make an example of the things that we know directly. You take a Cotton Fest, for example, you know, a Cotton Fest has sponsorships such as African Bank, right? Yeah, they have sponsorships such as Better App. You know what I'm saying? These are all unprecedented sponsorships that we've never had access to here in Durban. You know, but why? It's because our creative ecosystem is not able to sustain itself. You know, we can't have we have big acts that want to come here. They don't have spaces to come to. All we can take them to is the club. You know, we can take them to Florida Road or whatever. We have young people that are doing really big things. Refuse. These are our friends. He's one of the founders of Refuse. This is Minette. You know, they're going to Fashion Week next week in Johannesburg. It's a big deal. We're going there to support them. And right now, as we speak, we're looking at our own pockets to do that. You know, we have to travel to Johannesburg. We have to, you know, maneuver however we have to. But because we want our dreams to work, we're willing to do it. Yeah. You know, now imagine if, you know, a company such as Walk and Talk is like, okay, cool, let's sit down with you guys and see exactly what you want to achieve by going to Johannesburg, by seeing what's happening at Fashion. You know, like if you guys were to actually come there and see what these boys are doing, you'd be mind blown. You know, so yeah, that's what I have to say.
Can I just build on that, like I said, I help curation of the space here with Leslie. So when you're talking about being Leslie had already like discussed. So we have a plan already that is currently in motion to like expanding the space and inviting in more creatives. In terms of like fashion, we're gonna get a nail tech, like a person that's gonna be doing nails. There's a coffee shop, we're getting a few fashion brands that's already going. I work for like a fashion company, Kingsley Brands. We have the license for New Era, so I'm going to be bringing New Era because that's like a brand that everybody knows here. So me and Leslie have already spoken about something like that in terms of like coming up with a platform and getting like creatives involved in spaces where we can have our own ecosystem. So the wheels of that are already in action now. Like you said, what we need is support. Like in every single man, in terms of like a business structure, because we do have the minds of how that all happens, but it's all creative positions that we hold in our businesses. So when we start these things, we need people that, like lawyers, we need to know when to not cross the line. Accountants that know how to handle our financial businesses where it needs to be handled. And then of course, like he talked about, like funding in the right places where we can be helped. So we already have those ideas, we already have these things in motion. We're launching it on the 5th of May, right? Yeah. So we are actually launching this thing on the 5th of May. We have already spoken to the people that we can speak to, that can be involved. We know that people here in Durban really like to actually get around and party with events like that. So you do have events like the guys already have talked about that they're going to be hosting on coming up Sunday. We also have like an events that we do for people to come and gather and see the space every Friday. But it's like because creatives like a low-key thing, so we've curated it in a manner that we've done that way. So the curation of something like that is already in motion. We're already doing it off the pocket, you know what I mean? We just need people that are serious about the business and want to be involved and are going to help us actually formulate something that is professional. You know what I mean? Because we can talk about it, but we need to implement it and figure out what role each of us are going to play. So yeah, that's just what I wanted to talk about, because you said it's a think tank, problems, solutions. You know what I mean? So yeah.
You know, what I always speak about is something that I told my business career is that money follows structure. When he just spoke about people who look for assistance but don't have a plan. If they have a plan, it's still not, at the stage that it should be. One of the discussions we had in our interaction was what needs to be done from a platform, from a space perspective, and there's a space. And the nice thing about it is it's not government, it's private, it's people that are in the space, that in the creative space, by creators, for the creators, who've sacrificed, spent all their money to put a structure up like this, which is it's a structure at the end of the day. You walk into this place, look and feel it's there, and how to grow is obviously what's being spoken about. So if I had to ask a question, seeing that we're on camera, I just like putting pressure on ourselves. Is if there's anything that we could do, there's a lot that must be done, in the interim. What can we do for this space? It's something that exists. Whether the other spaces or not, that's a different story. That's something that we'll touch upon. We're sitting here, we see the space, we see the vision, we appreciate it, we love the vision. Is there any way that we can get involved as part of a play as 2004?
I like what you said about money to follow structure. I think since the time we knew each other from like 5-6 years ago, doing movie nights here, to now wanting to develop long-standing contractual, relationships even to keep this place going. I think it's a high time that people like yourselves, hear our plans. Because we definitely understand that investments is not just about iman, and we understand that investment needs return on it. You know what I'm saying? So I think we have struggled quite a lot as the creative community to get ears that are going to listen to a plan and then actually take the action, to invest in it. We can show you. We have books that we keep. I'll make a perfectly good example. Let's say an investment is made into an event, that we're going to be doing here, we can personally be like, okay guys, so let's get our sales report together so that we can show these people, what kind of finances we can make from this event, Find you guys say, oh, it's actually profitable, It's not just you guys putting in money, whatever kind of support that you're putting into it. There's longevity in this thing, Here are our plans about how we plan to go the distance with this venue, Here how we plan to network and collaborate with people in Cape Town, people in Johannesburg, Here what our traveling, plans are when we say we're going to Fashion Week. Why is Fashion Week important to us? I think once, people like yourselves start to understand those kind of things, then we can develop, spaces and ecosystems and spaces such as this one, and expand on it, in different locations here. Because we don't only just want to have daily dosage, we want to have a nice spot out in Point Waterfront. We want to have a nice spot maybe out in Balito. We want to tap into all these places, but we definitely can't do it alone. We can have all the ideas in the world, but without the support that we need, it's
I just wanted to answer. I think basically what he wants to say, like a proper support structure. Because like you said, money supports structure. The idea alone is already structured. But like he said, we are creative. So the idea is already there. We already know how we're going to set it up, but we need a proper foundation.
From what I'm hearing here, and I want to hear more people still, I'm going to give more people an opportunity to speak. Beyond all of that, guys, I think we should also think on collab, okay? Because collab will move us forward while we're still splitting the structure. And what we still want to do. Because collab will mean I get to learn from you, I get to leverage from whatever that you do. For example, Z is a star, she's on Showmax, on Netflix, or Mini is on Kaka. See, you are going on Fashion Week, some of you guys have YouTube channels. Collab means literally on your platform putting the TLS, whatever, collab means refuse sponsoring or you literally wearing
So waiting for my jacket.
You know it's coming. It means real collab means literally leveraging off you because you the idea of a powerhouse, literally not imaginary but real. What is colors and TOS and Banban doing to move things forward? Alright, cool. Z is a chance. Then goes with Theo. Room is a chance. Theo's in a different space. Yeah, him as well. Sis is in a different field altogether. I just want to know what those fields are. But very briefly, guys, everyone very concierge, entertainment, what are the frustrations?
Could you say brief?
Let's try.
I'm gonna try. Okay, so look, man, I've been in the industry, like I said before, for 12, 13 years now. I've been in nightlife, clubbing, and so forth. So I've started from the bottom all the way up, and I've worked all the way. It's been hard and tough, and it's been great at the same time. But I think most of our problems start COVID. That's when things is different stuff. You know what I mean? And but it's fine. You know what I mean? We fall and we get up because that's who we are. We create. You know what I mean? We said this. Who do we blame now? Because there's this whole thing that's going, it keeps killing people and so forth, and pointing fingers and so forth. So we try to, find our feet, and that's when we found who people really are. You know what I mean? And the people that we're working with in the industry, and it was then when we realized, no man, we're lacking support in certain segments, areas, and so forth. And that's when we decided to take things upon ourselves, you know what I mean, to actually find a way to make it work. So, fast forward, we still struggle to get back on our feet, of course, myself, as an events manager. And then I decided, no, I need to take a different shot because, listen, the industry, the clubbing is bleeding. You know what I mean? Hospitality is bleeding, you see it. Yes, they rely a lot on tender players, people who are in big corporate, big space, criminals, if you may call it. No, it's the truth. I'm going to be black about it. They rely a lot on them. And now it's people, these guys are cash strapped. There's no more tenders. The criminals are killing each other. You know what I mean? So now because of territory and so forth. And it's the truth. I must be honest about it, you know? And we found that what we did pre-COVID, the monies we made pre-COVID it's not happening. It's actually 1/3. And so that affected employment. That affected us. And you find that even now, if you see it's sad, shops are closed. People have worked so hard to build these beautiful, concepts and so forth. They're struggling, because this mentality of no pre-COVID, no, we still got it, we can still make it happen. It's still there, and it's not the case. You know what I mean? And so I'm like, okay, fine. The rent on the front of the road is still 180,000, still growing. You know what I mean? But people that are walking in the shops only spending now $500. You know what I mean at a time because they don't have money. Anyway, so I decided to take a different turn. You know what I mean? Because that's what we have to do. You know what I mean? We can't just sit back and fall. So I decided to focus on students. So I opened a concept called varsity culture. And that's that focus on tertiary students across Durban. And I found that there's so much that is needed for our students. That is why I'm here today. There's 60,000 students, to be honest, across MUT, DUT, and not even talking about technicals, FUT colleges and so forth. Biggest problems is unemployment. Then follows not being recognized. Lack of support. I've sat with the SRCs and the president, the leadership, they've said, Theo, man, this is great. But is it just a normal bash? They call it a bash. You know what I mean? No, it's just not just a normal bash. Varsity culture brings students from different institutions, tertiary students, to come together, to showcase their talents, to music, to gaming, to entrepreneurial stuff, arts, and so forth. And then we found that, okay, now that we have this idea and it's there, now we have the support from the SRCs to bring students together. Now we got that working. How do we then put the structure together? So I then partnered with someone who can do this, put an actual structure on the ground. But more than that, we need funds because let's be honest, money makes things move. You know what I mean? And then we found that, okay, we need to start engaging. And a lot of them are just held back because of what's going on in hospitality. So what they would invest in pre-COVID, it's quite difficult to do now. Because of the corruption that's been happening back then as well. It's just come to light. You know what I mean? And I go, oh, I see how the money is being used now. You know what I mean? So I decided, okay, fine, stop that. Let's then go to government. You know what I mean? Then they have these agents that they have. And that's where the anger came. That's when I decided to reach out. I was like, wait, there's these agents, these organizations that they formed to kind of put or to bring forward creators. So what companies do? He says, hey, listen, agents, go and find young creatives, fresh creatives, whatever you can call it, and let's try and empower. But we found that they are blinded by information as we continue to engage. Because then, what we realized with just a few of the organizations that we've been engaging with is that they've monopolized amongst themselves. You know what I mean? And in essence, putting their own people there, which is fine. Look, the pie is big enough. But I'm saying you're taking big chunks, big bites. You know what I mean? Like, no, I mean, it's frustrating. I mean, big bites. And I'm like, okay, fine. But then I'm also thought, wait, hold on, that's good. Let's see what you're doing. Fine, you've got the creators. But look at the creators. These are not young creators. These are creators who've been in the industry 20 years. Now, this may sound a contradiction from my part because I've been here for quite some time. but hey, I'm just someone who's taking the stand to say, well, listen, there's a student, man. He's talented. You know what I mean? Just put him on the stage. Let's see what he can do. You need to put a proposal together. Bam, there's a proposal. You sit day and night working, busting your ass, trying to figure out how you engaging, talking to people, even lawyers. Hey, bro, this is perfect. I don't understand why it's not working out. So then when we find out inside, no, bro, those people, as I said, they want only their own people to work. Even if you do have a proposal, it has to go through the individual. Like, it has to go through the individual. You know what I mean? So I'm like, okay, that's not fair. You know what I mean? So that's what for me, I wanted to reach out to you guys so that we can break that. It's kind of this agents that we call it. Let's get direct. That money belongs to us. Yes, we're about, I don't know, 30 creators in here. There's 60,000 out there. There's more hundreds of thousands. You know what I mean? So for me, personally, I feel like we need to form some sort of alliance that kind of is fair, that speaks directly, that cuts through these organizations. And we say, well, hey, listen, man, we own you, and we appreciate you and we respect you. You know what you've done for us. We love you, but you need to sit down. Give us a chance. You know, hey guys, I'm not gonna lie. Varsity culture, what we've done is well, more than that. I'm not here just to yes, I know I'm an events guy, so I sell one. Varsity culture is like this. So we said, okay, fine. How are we going to make this make sense, right? So there's talents, there's edutech, and so forth. So if there's employment issues, you know, we have like let's hire the students. We put a post out a week ago. We had about 180 interviews they said. What does that tell you? People are, there's a girl who sat in front of me. She came out number one. I think she came out first for poetry DUT, the whole of DUT, 23,000 students. She came out first, and she's like, hey, you know what? I don't mind, I can do anything, even if it's a rhyme. I'm like, man, no, but Varsity Culture is not just about that. It's about giving you a platform to kind of to boast your talents.
You've just summed up almost everything that I wanted to say. For example, the whole gatekeepers thing. For example, let me just make an example with myself. There was an event where I was called in to attend and showcase my work because I do craft writer, headpiece, accessories, and yeah. I was actually contacted by a lady who works for. What's the tourism, arts and culture department, and she said she found me through a hair artist, a well-known hair artist that's based in Johannesburg, that I do headgears. And I asked myself, but then, how come you didn't discover me first and you had to go to Joburg first and get this artist? Why not first check into the creators that are in Durban before you reach out into Johannesburg? I feel like our governmental organizations here just disregard creators. They see artists in other provinces as more equipped, more popular, more, I don't know, good in their services than we are. And we don't get those opportunities as other creatives get. And that's what makes us to lose our purpose, that makes us to lose our fight. That's why you end up with people being in misplaced positions and jobs they're not even supposed to be doing. Someone is busy studying a subject or a field that they're not supposed to be studying because they see that they can't even succeed in poetry alone. There's no money in poetry. Then they see that they're supposed to get into another industry because we are not being supported. No access to fundings. And also what you mentioned is that we are not equipped as creatives on business language. How do you formulate a business plan? How do you do your tax return? You know, how do you do your transactionals? This is what is needed if you're not applying for funding. And I'm just Pam who's passionate about making the stuff. And to market it, to put it out there. And this is what we struggle with the most. We have concepts, but we don't have the education of the business language. And like, for example, I've made so many crowns that now I see other designers are making. I haven't protected my work. I didn't have knowledge on how to do that. You know, we recently discovered these things in stages because we can't only focus on taking our income. The income is not stable. So I also need to live. I mean, I need to do things for myself personally. So I can't just take all the money and invest it in my business. So this is the struggle as well, is that access to income, capital, funding, patenting your ideas, you know, they're getting stolen by other well-known established accessories designers. And I think this is just the challenge that we face, or I face in my craftsmanship. Yeah.
Yeah, but if I may comment, I think two things that I'd like to touch upon. One is you mentioned the behind-the-scenes support, legals, auditing, accounting, that sort of thing. And I think what's important about spaces like these, and what we need to take into consideration, is adding those competencies to such spaces. If it means an in-house lawyer or legal team, in-house accounting, auditing capacity that needs to be done. If not, then outsource to one of the bigger firms, but specific to what's being done. So by the time you walk in and whatever creative element that you possess is covered within the space. So if you are a designer, there's some knowledge on legal capacity in-house to deal with those issues where you can literally walk out of your design studio into a lawyer's office within the same space. If you have some issues with your books, accounting laws, to speak to an accountant or an auditing firm that's placed within the space. And if that space does not have enough room for such competence, then to be tied into bigger firms where you can just shoot off an email and say, look, this is us from daily dosage, and this is what I do, and it's within that space. So I think the space is really important to bring these different disciplines to making it easier for the creative to not have to worry about what they shouldn't be worrying about, and just focusing on creative. And then secondly, and I always have this discussion, and unfortunately a lot of our discussions will always lead back to politics. I'm a businessman, just like you're a designer and many others in different creative spaces. I'm not someone who went through student politics, and I've been a businessman all life. And I've recently looked into the political space because I've also had my frustrations coming up as a young businessman, and understanding the challenges in that space and how to deal with these issues. Fortunately, I was able to find my way through and box it up with the biggest offer. And what I realized is, if we are going to take this fight on, if we're going to make a difference for everyone in this room, and the 60,000 and the broader millions out there, is we have to get involved in the political spaces. We shouldn't have to worry about thinking that there's someone in a position of power that does not understand what's happening in the creative space, that has no interest. Because you speak to some of the men and women, some of them may be they're still stuck in an era where I don't want to mention names, but they're stuck in bubblegum music time. And right now it's a different sector, fashion-wise, music-wise, production-wise, and technology-wise. And we need to have people that are in those positions that understand and represent what it is that we're fighting for, and what it is that we're trying to build. Whether it be departmental heads, whether it be at ministerial level, when you're tuned to Parliament TV, it needs to be eminently sitting there and saying, this is what it is. You're not going to tell me because I've fought it out. I've reached this level of success. People know me, they've seen my body of work. I represent them, and I'm qualified to represent them because I put in the years of work. So when these debates happen, it's not coming from a point of view where people are just sitting on high horses. So the political journey is very important. Yes, not everyone is going to be a member of parliament or mayor or whatever it is. But we all need to push in the same direction to say, guys, if we're going to get to a point where we have people representing our needs, we have people that want to fight our battles in accordance to what the battles are today. Soldiers that are fit for purpose for the issues that we face as people of today. We need to occupy that space. And it can't be from a point of, yes, it's good to raise those issues, it's good to bring it to the fore, but we can't be the complainants every time. We can't be the people protesting every time. We need to take control of the situation. And I was happy Theo mentioned early on when we spoke offline, and he said, look guys, whether something comes out of this conversation or platform or not, I'm doing my thing. I'm tired. I'm disgruntled with the way things are being done, and I'm charting my way to get to a point where I'm able to benefit and also bring benefit to others. And I appreciate what you said to me. I appreciate the way you're thinking, because that's what we need right now. The more of us that are thinking on a do or die basis, because that's what it is. You know, everyone has to live, everyone has to eat. You know, people and families to feed. The better for us. But we cannot sit back and wait. We have to grab the bull by the horns. And unfortunately for us, as much as we play this game from the ground up, we also need to play from the top down. That's what we're missing. So when you look at what's happening, tune into any news channel, tune into what's going on, decision making, press conferences. None of us are sitting in those platforms. None of us. And that's the spaces that we need to. So I just wanted to touch upon those two things.
Sorry, while you're still on that point, easier. I just wanted to say, how about we start from here? The fact that we are in this room and you are running a presidential campaign, why don't try and put at least 50% of the guys that are here to be part of that project? You can start from there as well. I mean, I've done broadcasting. I would like to speak in corporate spaces to be part of the campaign. So that could bring about a change as well. Because I'm listening to you as you speak, I'm like, yeah, I've got some guys that are doing projects. Sometimes you go into these events, you got your guy, you got us, the speakers. So yes, maybe we can create our own hub, but maybe try and give a chance to at least 50% of people in this room
It's a
to be part of your presidential campaign, right? Even 100% could.
No, it's always 100%, not 50%.
It has to be 100%,
No, this
honestly speaking.
This is a collab that Tao spoke about. And my apologies for interrupting.
I interrupted.
No, it's all good. What we need to realize is, unless we all work together, every little bit that everyone does in their own little lane all adds up to the bigger picture. But we need to be involved. Now, what I've seen over a period of time, when you look at when it comes to, so I mentioned politics deliberately, is every time people have been asked for comments, and these are people that are in the creative space, production space, artists themselves, musicians, celebrities, they shy away. Why? Once you start being seen to be attached to a certain grouping or you start saying things. And I mean, we all have our opinions, whether we say them in public or not. We all have our opinions on where the country is and what needs to be done and how things are being done. People have been beaten down, so people have looked and said, hey, this has happened to so and so. I've got sponsorships, I've got guest appearances that might be cancelled, I've got deals that might fall through the cracks because of my views on politics. So the one thing I don't like doing is saying to people, hey guys, let's go on this journey. When I know there's heat, everyone's going to come under pressure, but we all need to be prepared for that heat. Whether it's me, whether it's you, let's not personalize these issues. It's not about yourself and myself, it's about how this collective, and the collective is, we represent the majority of this country, how this collective is going to get to the next level, because the one thing that we're missing is we're not using our powers. The power is in our hands. Voting, that's one thing, but just coming together and saying, you know what, we'll be unshakable. We don't need, and I appreciate a venue like this. No backing from government or any departmental setups. You guys did it on their own. This is the spirit, and how we build on from this. The government thing will come into play.
Yeah. Maybe we'll just get the female votes up though.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Something to say before we get this on?
Yeah. So basically what I wanted to say was that you are right. We do need people our age and who have the same mindset as we in those positions, because there are certain laws that prevent us from doing our job as well. So like in terms of the investing space, if you want to host an event at the beach, the processes and procedures that you have to go through are quite expensive and quite long. So those are the things that we face going into those spaces. And you are right about not relying too much on the government and creating our own community. Like we shouldn't be relying on anybody else. Like creating our own sort of consortium where we're able to sit down. And I think people in the past used to do quite well with the Nostro Fair. So we are able to create like some sort of relationship where we work together, not only by collabs, but also investing in each other and assisting each other. Yeah, of course. Because it is quite difficult to invest in creative, like you said, quite now, like investors shy away from it, especially in the creative space, because they're considered high risk, because you don't know the attendance and anything can influence the event on the day. So we need to create our own economy per se. And I think with tech, we did it quite well. We have innovation hubs like Innovate Durban, Invotech. It's quite small, but people in the tech space are able to go there, sit down, have these conversations. You're able to go. There's even a governmental one called Moscow done in terms of patenting. So if you're having troubles with patenting your platform and actually communicating with like a mentor to help you, we have those spaces. I think that's the only thing that's missing for the creatives. Like for me, I think creativity and tech has always worked hand in hand. Everything we do is digital now. So with me, with these innovation hubs, they've helped me quite a bit. Right now, I'm one of the top 10 SMEs in Africa right now. Go for it, by the way. So right now, I'm in these competitions where I'm competing with the best in the world, and it's because I'm going through these processes and through these innovation hubs that equip me to be able to understand the business side of tech and also understand the back end of what I'm doing. So I think if we can have that for the creative community, that would be like crazy. And I think just going back to the conversation of tech and the creatives being one and the same, my platform basically is a digital network for SMEs. So we're about developing SMEs and giving them a platform to network and grow. So I think similarly, we can create something like that for creatives where they have to show off their work. And I myself, I'm even willing to give up my source code to create a platform like that where with the right investment, of course, we can help bring this thing to life. Where I already have the foundation, we just need something to build onto it. So I think that would be a really good opportunity to go on. We are talking about solutions that we can implement right away. So I think that's something I would be considered.
I think as we speak, I'm not sure how much time we have left, but there's no rush. At some point we'll have to wrap up. By the time we finish off today, let's be in agreement. There's however many of us sitting in this place, everyone's got their different disciplines. Let's find one project that ties everyone in, 100% of us. 100% of us. What that looks like, let's try and finalize that now. Yeah. And how that builds up over the next few days, weeks, months, whatever it is.
Another thing about also the lessons, like, we just have to understand that there's nothing more.
I wasn't done. Sorry.
No problem.
A project that ties all of us in: production, tech, design, media, radio, whatever it is, podcasting. Something that gives us all an opportunity. Inventing something that gives us all an opportunity to rally behind. Venue. Something that gives us an opportunity to tie all the different disciplines in together. Doesn't have to be a major thing. We start off something small and we build on. If we can just start there, just as we speak and as we go around the room. By the time we leave today, let's agree that there's something that we're working towards. Everyone that's physically today, and to build around it.
I'll give an opportunity to something.
Okay.
I can already, I don't know, it's just forming in my heart, face, spirit, I can already see it happening. Like, I don't see why it wouldn't happen. I mean, we've got people with numbers. The numbers on the social medias combined are crazy in this room. All of us combined, the numbers are crazy. We've got an architect, we've got guys that own space, we've got celebrities on TV, we've got security, we've got designers, we've got everything. A hub where you can walk in and do a podcast and not be limited by the fact that you don't have space to do a content. A space you can walk in and do that. A space where you can walk in and get a photographer, take a picture, a designer, do this. A lot of this, I see it happening, but let's find common ground and make it happen. Zola?
Okay, sorry, my voice is finishing. Okay, so what I just want to track back a bit. Because one thing I realized, Durban is literally rich with creativity. The souls, if you really look at a lot of, young talent that's come out and really made it to the top, when you trace where they come from, most of the time it's from KZN, and Durban. So I know there used to be a really rich culture when it comes to celebrating talent, when it used to be fashionable to go to that center, but beautiful spaces like that now are not as desirable. There's no attention paid, but that was a culture for young people every Saturday to go and watch people pumping against each other, to go and, poetry sessions where, there was a time when there was a time when that was what was trending. It wasn't about I need to afford this so I can go to this place, or look like this so I can be accepted into this club, or and I remember there was sometimes there were a lot of free shows. You didn't have to pay at that center, but you're in a space where who is at a high LSM, in the very same space you have a person who's in the low LSM, and we're all just enjoying art. We're enjoying creativity. We are enjoying talent. These are people who are God gifted, or people who have really taken their time to master a skill. You don't have to be talented. You don't have to have a God's gift, but if you want to master something, you can actually take the time and become talented in that. Yeah. So Durban is such an amazing place. I was born and bred in Durban, but I can tell you I spent 50 of my, I've kind of relocated. No, 50%. So, I realized in the space, you are limited in Durban, So I'm thinking, okay, I was from here to where? You know, where it can't happen quickly. It's almost like if you want to grow, you need to move. You know, and that's the thing about it is that that's the hard part. Growth is always seen outside of this capacity, you know. And the truth about it is that when I moved from Durban and I moved to Joburg, there's been growth. It's evident, you know. In Durban, everything I kept yes, or you're expected to do something in order to get somewhere, but because of limited resources in Durban or limited avenues to channel into, one needs to step outside in order to grow. And then also, for me to be coming to Durban and making sure that every month I'm here, just for visibility, to get more gigs back home, is expensive. So I'm in a position I'm in a position of favor, you know. But the reality is there are so many people who want to do the same thing as me but don't have the resources. You know, you can't just pack up and leave. That costs a lot of money. There's a lot of risk in it, you know. So one other thing that I was speaking about with Durban, it's very limited and it seems like you need to go outside of home to actually make it. I think more than anything, you guys are talking about the fact that we could have some sort of hub, that if you have a small business or if you have a thriving business in this hub, you can access your accountants, etc., etc. But I think what's even more important is the fact that you owning the business, you need to have the foundation of what an accountant does. You need to know if you're going to be going to a space and you need construction, you need to know what you're dealing with. You need to learn those languages that will involve your company, because people will play you. If you don't have the knowledge, you will be played. Yeah. So it's not just about outsourcing. Even easy doors outsourcing, you don't have to be the best, but know what you're playing with. Know what type of work you deserve and what you can afford for yourself. Be able to measure those things. So I think it's important to when there is opportunity for funding for companies. First of all, I hate how they advertise funding as if have a great idea, we can fund it. No, most of them ask for your history. You can't just dream. You have to have showed them that you can make money. But you die with your idea, or you have to sell your idea to someone else. You know? So with that whole plan of funding I wish that with the funding there can be skilled equipment, because not all of us sadly can be business owners. Some people are meant to be employed and you thrive within employment. And it's very important that we find a way to know what will work best for this individual. You've got a great idea, but maybe you need someone to manage it for you, because the managerial skills are just not within you. So let me not push you into a space where I know you're going to fail.
Thank you very much. Before I give you a chance for input, you two haven't said anything. I need you to speak. Before you speak, what you just said, Zola, is very so true, because I was thinking Durban is the hub of so much talent, but to a point where the number one genre in the world approaching Amapiano, but there's no one representing Amapiano in Durban. And this is the hub of talent. Which label do you know that represents Amapiano in Durban? Where do Amapiano artists go to in Durban? Is that true? Where do they go to get a studio recording, to get a photo shoot, license, radio play, meaning, where do they go?
Guys, I think the first point that was made about space, very important. You know, when you mentioned Bad Center, I could think about so many things that were done back then. Poetry, dancing, singing, people that you know, people you never know. And if you look at the states of Bad Center now, Zulu Jazz Lounge, they don't exist. I think they've been run down and stuff, I don't know. But that just goes to show how much we need to revitalize arts and culture, and how much it's been dead in Durban. Look at us, look around. Everyone knows people who are talented, right? They're all stuck in Johannesburg or are still in the millions or died with their ideas. It's very unfortunate, But I think what was said about but structure, education, and everything else follows. Structure and education. Then the funding follows and solutions will come through. Sorry.
Can I just make a point on the collaboration? How many of you would think that something like opera is like it's not that interesting if you think about it? It's like it's opera, singers. I'll probably go to one event in my life and probably never go again type of thing. And then you think of a sport as popular as soccer. Do you ever think like those two things could ever come together and work? But then the biggest tournament in the world is the Champions League, and every game you watch, the first thing you think about is Champions League is that song, that opera, that old. So I'm saying like collaboration doesn't just need to be creative collaboration. It can be collaboration in other spheres. In soccer, I'm also seeing, for example, like the Italian team, they're all partnering with like the fashion. So what I'm trying to say is that you can collaborate outside of the space. You know, so it's, as young people, let's think about that. Let's think like, okay, we've got sports brands here, we've got quite a few artists, whatever, but let's try and collaborate outside the space of the creative space, like using our creative talents to get there. Because I think there's something where we can make a huge impact at a mass scale. You know, imagine I'm watching Amazon play, and I know I'm going to see Theo's branding on the players every time they get off the bus, for example. You know, something small like that can be huge. You know, but yeah, I've been quiet on purpose because I talk a lot usually. But I want to give people
Greeting guys. My name is Duduzane Zuma. I own a company called New Media, and I also have a studio that I'm at. I just want to comment on what I've been hearing we talk about. I feel like I come from her days, that sense of days. You know? I do feel like a dinosaur in a way. Reason being, I feel like before we can speak about funding, you know, all these new things, the collaborations that we want, the culture has changed altogether in this place that we live in. You know, the pop culture has become the new thing. You know, what. Yeah. So even people's attitudes towards each other. We can say we're collaborating now, we'll agree, we all walk out happy, you know. But tomorrow it won't be a collaboration because the day you come to me telling me to account for what I committed to, I won't be there. You know, it's a thing that's happening now. Everyone is selfish. Everyone wants to get to the end, but they don't know there's a process in between. You know, the young generation. I'm telling you, I've been a photographer from 2010 till today, full time from 2014 to today. Not employed. It's worked for me so much so. Lockdown, everything came through. I never really suffered. Because I had I'm saying this in the sense that, you know, there were people who were complaining about, hey, work is not coming or whatnot. For me, I had put a structure in my business that had always worked for me. You know, for me, I always believe that 200 rand every day is better than 1,000 rand a month. You know what I mean? So for me, making that small money always counted. Theo can tell you, he's employed me so many times. This is my best friend from primary school, by the way. My best friend from primary school. So with that said, guys, what I'm saying is, I've seen photographers, I'll speak about my industry, photographers coming after me, videographers coming after me. A lot of them have came, a lot of them disappeared also. The only reason why that happens is because nobody wants to stay throughout the duration of the process. They want to start today and become the coolest photographer tomorrow, the most booked photographer. I've seen a lot of them. They get booked in clubs. I've shot at clubs. I've shot at at big events, I've shot at corporate events and whatnot and whatnot. You know, the only thing that I would, if I was to complain or talk about anything, it's just that I don't like complaining that much. But if I was to talk about something and say, I wish we could, in my industry, have a hand in, it would be the whole assistance of how do we get the tenders coming to us directly instead of them coming to some old man and then he hires me to come and service that client. And that client, I can't even speak to them because the moment I speak to them, this old man and I are in better terms now because I went behind him. You know, it's always that case. I'm not talking about old people only. We do need old people, trust me guys. We talk about us being the leaders of tomorrow. That's cool. But we do need guidance because us, we are lawless. There's no way we can run the country at the moment, at the state that we're in right now. If we still believe that being at a club right now and popping bottles makes you a hero, it still does not make sense to me. I come from a school where my parents used to beat me up to become something. You know, all the harassment or whatever they called it back then, what we call it now, for me, has only now makes sense why they did what they did then. So today's generation, I don't know what they call it, harassment or whatever. It never made, back then, of course, if you were to say, arrest your parents because they are abusing you, and if I had the opportunity, I would have tried. I don't think it would have happened. You know, it would have turned out a different way. You know what I'm saying? But now, today, it's easy for a child. You slap them, they arrest you. You know, you can't go ahead. You know, there's so many things going on. So I do feel like, in a way, the 1980s and the 1990s need to somehow have a voice. Because the 2000s can't say shit. They have no voice. They don't know what to say. They just... But honestly, guys, just to wrap my talk, I feel like, yes, we do need help as creatives in the province, mainly because nobody recognizes us unless we go to Joburg, then we come back to Durban. And sometimes we don't, we go to Joburg and then we fail. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? So we do need help here in creating creative hubs. However, it's a lack of commitment, which means it needs to start back at home. You know, we need to be grounded first. We need to be taught that once you commit to something, you need to stick to it. Be it there's money or there's no money, you need to stick to it until you see through. You know what I mean? Because we can get money now, you can give us $1 million now, tell us to dish it amongst each other. Trust me. Tomorrow you come back. What have you started? What have you started? We'll all come back and tell you, it's been a hectic weekend, you know what I'm saying? So we do need the help, but we also need structure. We need foundation, we need to build the foundation. So I think she spoke about knowing about the tax, why do you have to have an accountant on board and whatnot. All those I think you also spoke about that. All those fundamentals are very important for a business person to start. But in the same breath, she also said, not all of us, I think you also mentioned that, not all of us are meant to be business people. There are people that want to be employed. We need to humble ourselves enough to understand where we stand because everyone is trying to jump in front of somebody who's leading them. Because I know one. So, yeah,
when it comes to anything that has to do with classical music, I have my own room with the aircon, the piano, and my instrument, saxophone. There's a structure. Hence, that's why I always say, like, is it the white people or the black people? Like, those are the questions I usually ask myself, because where I am in the classical music, that's mostly white people. Like, and the discipline has to be there. Because every day, they tell you every day, there's no day off when it comes to music. You not know, okay, I've done something on the day. And for us to actually succeed in whatever we're planning to achieve here, we have to have a proper structure and discipline.
True. Umod is an architect, a different field altogether. But Umod has traveled and he's created spaces
like most of the spaces that we've been to, like he does the renders, the everything for it. So it's very much relevant, and also he's more creative as an architect. So I want to hear what their issues are in that space, what their observations have been, solutions, very briefly before he's a Mr. Fashion Week.
Yes, I'm an architect, but more multidiscipline, like profession. Like I work in space, like art, I work in tech, I work in graphic design, and I've worked in property development. Like some of the spaces that I've worked on is like large-scale projects like Maboneng, River Tamia in the city, which was very unfortunate what actually happened, because we were literally trying to create a space for everyone like this. You know, everyone remembers 8 Morrison Street. Yeah, that was something we were literally trying to do, to create a space. But unfortunately, like with all the challenges we dealt with, like it was really tough to actually get the traction going, you know, and keep it.
What were the challenges?
Like there's a lot of challenges, like, you know, it's all the challenges, like, well, it was more privately funded mainly. So you had like entrepreneurs coming to the space, taking up pods. Like similar, it's quite similar to the space basically, you know. You got pods there, people coming to taking it up. But then, you know, like for the creative like realm to actually function, people need to make money. The entrepreneurs themselves need to make money. And like the opportunities they have access to is very scarce, you know, because like the reality is that, you know, they don't have the opportunity to work with corporate and stuff like that. It's only a few people. But you do have companies such as like Mr. Price, you have McMiladies here, but like there's no access for like big business meets small business, you know, which is very important for the ecosystem to actually like function, you know, because there's like layers to all of this, you know, and like to summarize, you know, like it was basically meant to be an incubator, like, you know, like what Duduzane was summarizing, that like at a point of reference we need to all try to come up with something collectively to actually make function. Like, you know, you have people that can film, you know, you got people like in media, you got like people in marketing, you got people like, you know, developing fashion and everything. You know, it's bringing everyone together and working together. You know, like for instance, like someone in fashion will need someone to do a shoot. If they got a space to right here or a studio, they can do it right now. So you know,
so it's doable.
It's doable, man. It's like it's not like something that's like really far fetched, but like there's a lot of like support that's actually needed. You know, there's a lot of structures that are needed. Like for instance, like what he mentioned in terms of like, you know, legal, financial like advisors and stuff like that. Those are stuff like companies actually do on pro bono. It's important to actually come together as a collective and approach these people like, hey, we got like maybe 15 entrepreneurs here. This is literally what we want to do. We need like maybe like a law firm to come through, do pro bono work. They have to do pro bono work. You know, they'll do legal work for you guys and get it done. You got like a business advisors that are out here. You know, you can work with the the Chamber of Commerce here, like in Durban.
I think what was mentioned earlier on by Tao was the collab is just basically bringing everyone together. It's not the first time collabs have been done, but let's take a different attitude to it. We're here, you know, we're looking around. There's some, you know, prominent people in the room who've done some great things. Others are up and coming. Others are, you know, sustainable, you know. But what we need to do, not what we're trying to do, but what we're going to do, is to say, we have this grouping of people. We have these, it's not just ideas, everyone here is doing something. Let's get to a point where we have a rallying point, you know, and pull everything towards that and build from it. So that's why I mentioned earlier on is by the time we leave here, let's have something that we can all rally around and build from. Because you will be introducing yourself to new avenues, to new potential clients, to a new database of people that might take interest in your business or in the offering that you have, the products and whatever else. I think that's basically where we have to start somewhere, you know, because what happens is we're trying to get to the point of profiting and we don't focus on building that machine. The more avenues we have, the bigger the profit pool becomes for everyone sitting in the room.
And I'll speak on behalf of I'm 2000. I feel like all the gents are not willing to hear what we are trying to do. Firstly, from what I did and
how far I've come. I don't even stay in Durban anymore because of I feel like how saturated and how the whole cycle is, and how they treat like an innovative mind or a group of gents or a group of hands that do something. I just feel like the whole challenge is with the mentality in Durban type. For me, I feel like from where I stand and like what I'd like from all the gents is them trying to find a younger them, which is what I'm trying to do at the age of 26. I'm trying to find a gent in primary school who loves fashion dearly. Because I genuinely feel like the younger your target market is, the longer you last in the business. And I also like to talk on collaboration. Zulu City indirectly is Israel. So how are you going to blow up in your own city? There's literally no blow. Like for me, how I've seen it and how I perceive it now, I feel like nobody can really blow up in the same city that they were raised in, because was as don't cheat that or or some dumb stuff like that. I genuinely feel like as like young people, we have to make it like necessary, like make it like a thing that you should travel outside. And not like, I feel like everybody with businesses right now, they look at how many numbers people do outside of Durban. They would look at like people from Peshe. I channel myself with my age. I compete with my age. And I genuinely feel like yes, Durban can look at what I've created and what me and my friend created as something really big, but I genuinely feel like we should put pressure on our age and generalize traveling. Like, why don't you, there's a song that's going around right now, it's called Sosplata. It's such a simple term, we're talking about it, number plates, as a social goal, it's simple. But like as a Durban cat, you wouldn't know that because Ethekwini is structured mentally. It's like, yo, I'm not going there, or something like that. Like there's so much to learn.
Good luck to everyone who came. Please do swap numbers. We're gonna leave a register at the door whereby you're gonna write down your channel, sorry, not your channel, your handles for Instagram, your social media, yeah. So as well as, yeah, just check this thing out. It's gonna be out by next week. Look at it and yeah, let's work. Let's see what happens.
What should we name this episode?
Creative Avenue.
Like, should we say Durban? Must we put location or must we just say Creative Avenue?
I don't know.
Any other? Pardon? Creative with the K.
Yeah.
It's not some KKK stuff.
Who's class clear?
No.
I want to cover something that's like super important that you guys mentioned, that we need to take away something from here, you know, that we're really going to actually push. Because after this, everyone's going to go back into their lives and, you know, kind of get sucked back into whatever we were doing. But I'd just like to ask that we actually invest in this space, daily dosage. Because this is where this conversation started. This is where we know we can make everything that we've spoken about materialize. Like literally, we can tap into each and everyone's abilities here. Whatever you want, it can all happen here. Maintaining the space, developing the space, supporting the space also. You know, this space is a coffee shop also. You know, so during the week, it works. On weekends, it can be an events space. If anyone needs to do photo shoots for their brands, they can come here, you know. But obviously, let's find out the finer details. You know, what's it like for Leslie to keep the upkeep of this place going on? You know, what's happening, you know, with the rest of these Jose Valiwe and you know, that have their hands in this space, and maybe Leslie is a little bit restricted with how much we can use it. How can we open it up a little bit more? You know, let's install some Wi-Fi in here that we can come back to and invest in having, you know, necessary offices that are gonna like literally work maybe even 24 hours if that's possible. You know, creatives get some really crazy ass ideas even during midnight. You might just want to come here and work on whatever you want to work on. This is something that we can actually take, you know, into, like, guys, we can make this I almost said shit, but we can make it happen.
I said earlier on, we already have something that we're establishing. So we're extending daily dosage into daily content. I was going to speak to you guys about coming in, bringing in clothes. So we already have like brands coming in to the space that are going to be selling some of these stuff. We're looking for people who are going to help us with media, because there's another idea where we're going to do like intimate content for musicians that want to showcase this stuff. So something like that is already in plan. It's just that, well, Leslie is shy and I don't know almost everybody here. So I've been like the guy to talk and connect with people. I've talked to the people that I know to come in with their brands. I reached out to Malcolm, not you really, about coming in with this brand. But also, since it's a Durban thing, we also want it established countrywide.
Because I'll be attending, they've got the Tony Fontaine guys in Gauteng that do a lot of similar stuff, but in that space as well. So when we're speaking about collaborations, I'm happy that you're saying that it's also people from your homies in Johannesburg that you're speaking to. But similar concepts that are existing, that have actually done quite some amazing things, and how to start, you know, collaborating with I'm not sure if you are aware of them or you know them or not, but I'm just saying I'll be attending their function on the 30th, which is not this coming weekend, the following one. And if anyone is able to make it, please feel free to join. You know, I've been to their setup, you know, very similar setup, but they're doing some amazing.
Is it in Joburg or?
In Pretoria, actually, in Pretoria. But in closing, I appreciate everyone that came at such a short notice, and thank you very much to P1, Zippo for putting this together, and more importantly, to Tabo. You know, at the drop of a hat, you managed to bring a lot of influential, creative, smart, cutting-edge people. You know, the one thing that we can't forget, as much as there are business people out there, high-ranking politicians, sports stars, the people that run the world are creative people. If you look at the arts, if you look at influence, radio personalities, you know, these are the messages that are given. We listen to the messages that are out there. If you look at the influence of fashion, you know, we look to you guys, you know, the younger up and coming guys. Some of us may be getting to the older range, but you know, we take a look around to see what's happening, so we can stay in the loop, so we're not looked at as those older guys. You listen to the music out there. This is what's driving the world. You look at the influence of the arts on even sports itself, business. You look at the Elon Musk of this world. You look at you know, they derive influence from people that are pushing the message, whether it's visual or whether it's audio. So, you know, we need to take this that seriously. As much as you're doing whatever it is that you're doing in your space and pushing that dream, there are a lot of us, including myself, that look to you to stay in touch with what the world is today, because it's easy to become that old guy that is stuck in time. You know, now I'm talking about Biggie and Pac, because that's where I grew up on in you know, the Mobb Deep, Tribe Called Quest. You know, as much as that was great then, times have changed. You know, it's everyone's is a baby these days, little baby, their babies. You know, but we have to keep in touch with what's happening. And the only way to do it on a daily basis is by when you turn the radio on. If you look at what people are wearing, dress code, the brands, you know, it's also good seeing that we have people amongst ourselves. So we're not just looking to international brands, but there's guys doing some amazing things in our own spaces. And we need to uplift the city. You know, Durban is a bedrock of talent. You know, as much as we've seen Cape Town taking its position, as much as we've seen Joburg, Maboneng, Braamfontein, Melville over a long period of time. But Durban has a lot to offer. And I mean, this needs to be the showcase of the day, and this is something that we need to focus on, and we need to deliberately say, guys, we're going to build a stream called Durban, which is a broader KZN, because this is the KZN hub.
What I was looking at is, how my jet there with the cap said, you need to invest in this space. I was looking at this thing as a continuous thing. Maybe probably once a month or so, because there's gonna come a time when there's gonna come a company maybe that's gonna say, I wanna join you guys on that day. Sure. Maybe I can start giving bursaries out, or start giving out funding or support to, whoever pitches something, maybe, then it starts becoming like Dragon's Den or Shark Tank, then we getting opportunities then, because right now we can say we're collaborating with Go Home, but no one is just going to come and give you money. You need to pitch something on the table so that, so that's how I was looking at it. But maybe somebody else has another idea, but that could be a podcast one. That's one stream already, or a form of, or a place of recognition for other people. So if you showcase something, then somebody will see you on that podcast and they know about you, and it's an advertising platform. We can get people to advertise on the podcast. We can get companies coming to pitch, as I've said, and it kind of creates a dialogue also amongst the creatives in the space.
Fashion is happening on the 20th.
It's the next week that we're going to, on the 22nd, and we show on the 23rd.
Okay, can we do something as a starting point around?
Yes, we can definitely do something. We can definitely do something, because we are all going there.
Okay.
We'll be meeting the Italian embassy of fashion.
Okay.
We're low-key being mentored by a guy called Massimo. So it's kind of really nice. Also, Sihle Blackie will be closing our show just as a side eye. Yeah, so I genuinely feel like there could be some sort of investment done there. I would love to see everybody there. Everybody's here, that would be beautiful. I don't know how we can do it, but I'll leave that to you guys.
Okay, so we have a fashion week thing. How can we all rally behind it as a starting point in our different disciplines? To say, okay, tech, radio, podcast, legals, whatever it is that we need to say. We didn't just come here and have a discussion. Let's do something. Let's say we mean what we say.
Not to take away from that, at the same time, can we also support me, guys? Voting ends end of this month for the global startups. Wait.
When we vote?
I'll send it again.
No, tell us now.
It's on the global startup apps and websites. So
Global Startup.
Global Startup.
What's it called?
It's called Global Startup. So what's your mine is Pluto Africa, ecosystem hero of the year 2023.
Good luck.
It'll be on the page. Yeah.
Let's stick to the
What do you need from us? If you had to say now, okay, I know you have a lot of stuff covered, but what would you need from us? And I'm not trying to
accommodation, probably like transport also. Accommodation more than anything.
Okay.
Transport there or the whole time?
The whole time.
Yeah. So on the ground, for how many people?
Approximately 10.
10.
Yes.
Okay. So that's 10. Okay. So accommodation down.
Sakiwo, the only company called Belvedere Temple. Yes, Belvedere Temple. He's Durban based. He works with a guy who does stills called Gift Dig. He shoots like stills. Come on, dog. So they are documenting the whole thing for us. They cover everything.
Mission accomplished. Thank you guys for coming on show. Let's take it forward and see how else can benefit us. Before we go, Uyami, Ushayele,